Hey there! So, today, as you can notice, I'm not a protogen, but I'm an Avali. Keeping things a little bit, mixed up, keep you guessing. Now, what we're going to be talking about today, as per the description probably, is spatial variables. Specifically, how to make a spatial variable that holds the last value that you sampled. Now, this sounds like it might be a little bit difficult. However, I'll show you. Because it's a lot simpler than you might think. So we'll actually first just quickly make an object for it. So we'll make a sphere, and then we'll shrink that sphere down to a more reasonable size, like this. I'll select the sphere, and we'll give it a child, which we'll deal with later. But first, we'll just attach a component, assets, and we'll put a material of type unlit material on here. And we grab that material and we'll just put that into the mesh renderer for it. So now it's just a pure white sphere. And we'll go to the child and we'll rename this to sampler. Now then, if we go to attach component, in here we can get a data spatial sampler of type value spatial driver, or value spatial variable driver. We'll do color X, because we'll be dealing with colors. And then what we want to do here is we want to drive default value, and then grab default value and just drop that onto our tint color. However, what we can also do instead is we can, instead of driving default value directly, go to relations, value multi-driver, color X, have the value being driven by our spatial variable, and then have our spatial variable's default value driven by the current value here. Now then, if you go to sphere and then grab tint color, it's going to look a little bit cleaner to just hook it up like this. Now, next, we need a variable name. Now, over here, I already have set up our fun little variables, a green one, a cyan one, and a blue one. If I select one of these and go into their hierarchies, you'll see there's a box child, which has a box content value spatial variable, color X. And it's my color. Probably don't use, by the way, if you actually make an object, make sure that you don't use like simple names like this, like I'm doing here, unless you want to make something that can be interacted with by other systems. If you make something just for yourself that you don't want anyone else interacting with, use unique names or use names that are generated on spawn. Like these are names like these are just for, like showcase purposes. So let's put that into the variable name. And now if I grab this and I go over here, we can actually use this as a sort of palette picker. So if I submerge this in blue, we get a blue sphere and it stays blue. Submerge it in cyan, cyan sphere. Green, green sphere. And that works by it's simply driving the default color. So the moment it gains a color, that is also going to be the color that it is by default. You can do this also in Flux, but it's a little bit more complicated. You have to add a field into here, and then with the Flux, using the sampler, drive that field, then you use a source, and then that source plugs into the default value of the sampler. If you want to do it recursively, quote-unquote, like this, just ideally use the sampler in components. It just looks a little bit cleaner. But I don't think there's any like downside to using it one way or the other. But yeah, if that's pretty much it. There's nothing really left to say about that. If you enjoyed the video, leave a like. If you didn't, still leave a like. Or don't. I don't really care. Have a nice day. Bye-bye.